In the previous session, we have discussed about fabrication of PN junctions. So in that we have discussed about thermal oxidation, diffusion, rapid thermal processing, ion implantation, chemical vapor deposition, photolithography, etching and metallization. And I hope I already sent you the notes about this. And we have already discussed the importance of oxidation. Two types are there, dry oxidation and wet oxidation. Different methods like thermal oxidation, rapid thermal processing, then chemical vapor deposition. So these are all belongs to the oxidation process. Similarly, once we done the oxidation, so we went through the next technique, that is nothing but diffusion. So diffusion is nothing but doping the impurities into the silicon substrate. Like diffusion, ion implantation performs the same operation, only the difference is in technology. Next is photolithography. Here we are using UV rays so that we can dope a particular impurity to a particular place. So etching is nothing but to remove the unwanted chemical or the material present in that wafer or in the substrate. Metallization, it is used to provide the external connections to the fabricated device. So here these are the topics which we have discussed in module 5 part A part. So now I will start with the part B part, that is integrated circuits. So here before starts with the integrated circuits, so what I have done, so in that the topics like background and evolution of ICs. So I have made a separate notes for these two topics. So remaining topics will be covered in the notes which I have set there. Okay. So these two topics is already covered in the notes. Only these two topics like background and evolution of ICs, I have made a separate notes. So today we will discuss about these two. After the class, I will send you the notes regarding these two topics. So now we will start with the integrated circuits. I hope you guys already done a electronic devices lab and the digital system design lab or digital electronics lab. So there we have used ICs. I hope you guys used an ICs like 7400, 7402, 7486. So those are the nothing but the integrated circuits now. I hope you guys getting that. So those are the integrated circuits. So here in that integrated circuits, so it looks like a rectangular shape. I will show you first what is integrated circuit. So I hope you guys went through such an integrated circuit with different legs are there like this. Okay. Here the name of the IC name may be like 7486, whatever the IC you choose. So it has the pin numbers. We call it as an integrated circuit. Now, what is this integrated circuit? So this integrated circuit is nothing but here the numerous components, I can use the word, the numerous components like transistors, okay, the numerous components like transistors are placed on a single silicon chip. I call it as chip also. So I can say that integrated circuits, in short we call it as IC. So here IC is nothing but, so IC is an integrated circuit, okay, so where it has contains the numerous components like transistors, and these transistors are placed on a single silicon wafer. So we also call this as a single silicon wafer where numerous transistors are placed, and we also call it as a chip. So what it does, it performs a particular operation. If I take 7486, so 7486 is an XOR gate. I hope you guys remember this. So 7486 is an XOR gate which performs XOR operation. So this 7486 holds 4 XOR gates where you can utilize to perform any operation. So from this I can say that integrated circuits are nothing but these are the components, these are the integrated circuits where the numerous components placed on a single silicon chip. Okay, we call it as an integrated circuit. Example, the ICs which are used in digital lab. Okay, so now from this I can say that now I will start with the background. So what is this integrated, how it is evaluated, and then evolution of that ICs. So now first I will open the notes which I have sent you guys. So this is the notes I have sent you as a module 5 notes. In that, the background, advantages of integration, types of integrated circuit, and then the evolution of ICs. Now only for these topics I have made separate notes. Now I will send that notes. So based on that we will discuss. Then the next topic I will start from here itself, that is CMOS integration process. So this topic I will start from the notes itself. Okay. So now we'll move on to that notes so that we can understand what is this integrated circuits and its evolution. So now we'll start with the module 5, integrated circuits. The first topic is background. So in background we have two topics. One is advantages of integration. Second is types of integrated circuits. So before starting with the background, as I explained earlier, so here in the background of integrated circuits, I can say that here the integrated circuits allows the designer is nothing but a person who designed the integrated circuit. So here integrated circuits allows the designer to design a complicated circuits. Okay, but here these complicated circuits are built on a single silicon substrate. They can build on a single silicon substrate. What? It is risky, but technically and economically they are more advanced compared with the previous technology. So integrated circuits allows the designer to design a much complicated circuits. Okay, and all that complication of that circuit is built on a single silicon wafer or single silicon substrate. I call it as a chip or integrated circuit. So now these ICs can be carried out from one place to the another place very easily. The best example for the ICs is the processor which is used in the desktop, like your personal computers or in the laptops, or these integrated circuits also used as a processor or controllers in your mobile phone also. We call them as integrated circuits, which contain a complication or built with a complicated circuit but on a single silicon substrate. So that is about the background. Here we can take this IC from one place to another place very easily because they are very small in size. With respect to weight, they are very less in weight, and they will not damage when they moving from one place to the another place. So that is about the background here. So in that background, the first topic is the advantages of integration. So how they are advantaged comparing with the previous technology. So now I will move on to that. That is the advantages of integration. So here when it comes to the integrated circuits, we will use one term. The term is called as miniaturization. So this miniaturization is nothing but here integrated circuits has very small in size. The size of this IC compared with the other technology. So other technology like analog circuits. So analog circuits are very large in size, okay, and it is very difficult to transport from one place to another place. Whereas the advantages of integration or in integrated circuits, they belongs to the term miniaturization, means they are small in size. Okay. So because of this, here many circuit functions can be packed into small space. Because of this term miniaturization, Now integrated circuits allows the designer to place the circuit function. Circuit function is nothing but it is a logic that we are going to implement in that integrated circuit. Logic like we want to build a 4-bit adder. So that 4-bit adder or 4-bit multiplication, so whatever the circuit function, that can be implemented on a small space of a integrated circuit. And then there are also complex electronic equipment. Means any kind of complex electronic or a complex logic can be implemented in that integrated circuit. Okay. So here, because of this, they are employed in many applications. Because of the small space, because of the complexity can be implemented in this circuit, they are employed in many applications where weight and space are critical. So weight is nothing but the weight of the IC is very small. Space means the size of that IC is very critical. Critical means less in or small in size. So the examples for such weight and small space, like it is used in aircrafts like aeroplanes, then it is also used in space vehicles. Space vehicles means the vehicles which are placed in the atmosphere or in the outer space. So there it is used, these integrated circuits are used because of their less in weight, small in size. Now we'll move on to the next advantage here. Now because of this, it is now possible not only reduce the size of overall unit, but also to facilitate maintenance by allowing for the replacement of entire circuits quickly and easily. Nothing but suppose while operating any integrated circuit, so you guys observe that when you doing the experiments in the lab, so suppose if the IC doesn't work, then what you will do? You will just replace that IC with another one. You will not remove the entire circuit. The only thing you have to do is, if you found that integrated circuit is faulty, like you are using 7402 IC and you found that 7402 IC is faulty or it is not working according to our function. What we will do? We just replace this IC by another IC without removing the remaining part of the circuit. So that's why here the maintenance of this overall circuit is very easy and it can be removed quickly and easily. Now the next is, in that I can say that the applications of IC are pervasive in such a consumer products as watches. Means here the ICs can be utilized to build in consumer products like watches, calculators, automobiles like cars. So you can implement these ICs in cars also, like sensors, then telephones like your mobile phones, television like in TVs. So now different technologies are arrived in the market where more number of televisions based on LED technology, LCD technology. So here all this is possible because of integrated circuits. So this is a application where we have used this ICs. So hope it is clear for everyone. Okay. Now we'll come to the next most important advantage of miniaturization, means because of its small size. So here with response to time and the speed of signal transfer between the circuits, means even though it is small in size, okay, and it requires very less power, the speed of this device is very high now, because it is capable of transferring the signals between the two circuits much faster than the previous technology. So that is the most important advantage of this integrated circuit with respect to time and speed. It needs very less time and it executes or transfers the function of the signal between the circuits much faster. Another important advantage has to do with is the percentage of usable devices. So here the efficiency, I can call it as the efficiency, often called yield also. Yield is nothing but the output product or the expectation of the output. Here the integrated circuit achieves almost 99% applications can be implemented, and the efficiency of that IC is up to 100%. So because of this, integrated circuits are more suitable in the current technology comparing with the previous technology. So these are some advantages. 3 or 4 advantages are there. Okay, you have to go through these 4 advantages. One time this question is asked in your exam also about advantages of integration circuits. So next in that is types of integrated circuits. So in that we have 2 types. One is linear or digital IC, and the second is fabrication. So this is a very small topic. I will just discuss how it is important. So linear or digital integrated circuit. So linear is a thing, but here output function follows the input function. Such a device we call it as linear here. So here a linear IC is an IC that performs amplification. So here in all linear or digital ICs, the importance is that here it is used to perform amplification. Amplification is nothing but here we are magnifying the amplitude, or you can say that amplification is nothing but we are amplifying or magnifying the input waveform from the input to the output side. So amplification is nothing but, in other words, here we are strengthening the weakened signal. So there we are going to use these linear integrated circuits, or we can also say that other essential linear operations on signal. Other linear operations like we can perform operations like addition, multiplication, division. So we call some examples like operational amplifiers, analog communicational circuits. It is used in the communication from transferring the signals from source to the destination. So some other circuits like it involve the logic and memory and applications in computers, calculators and microprocessors. So these are some examples for linear or digital integrated circuits. So according to this topic, the main focus is on amplification and other essential linear operations like it is used to build the operational amplifiers like perform addition, multiplication, such operations. It also involves in building the memories, and those memories can be applied in the computers, calculators and microprocessors. So this is about the linear or digital integrated circuit. The next is the fabrication. So when it comes to the fabrication, 2 types are there. One is monolithic and the second is hybrid. So now what is monolithic in the fabrication? So monolithic is nothing but it is an integrated circuit that are included entirely on a single chip of semiconductor. Nothing but monolithic circuits are the circuits which only includes the active elements. I hope you guys remember the active elements. So active elements are nothing but like transistors, operational amplifiers. So those we call them as active elements. So monolithic circuits are the integrated circuits. They are built only using such components. So entirely on a single silicon chip. Here the word monolithic means one store. One store is nothing but one integrated circuit or one chip. So and implies that the entire circuit is contained in a single piece of semiconductor. So whatever the circuit you have built, that should be within one single piece of semiconductor. So it should not include any other components outside that semiconductor. So we call it as monolithic. So there are some examples such as we can say that insulating layers, metallization patterns, they are intimately bonded to the surface of the chip. So once the devices which are placed inside the single silicon chip, we call it as monolithic circuits or monolithic integrated circuits. So apart from that, there are some components which is connected like addition. We call them as insulating layers and metallization pattern. Insulating layers, the layer which covered that single silicon chip. Metallization is nothing but which provides the external terminals, like we call them as legs, to provide the external connection to the outside world. So this is about monolithic. When it comes to the hybrid, so in the hybrid circuit, it may contain one or more monolithic circuit or individual transistors bonded to an insulating substrate with resistors, capacitors and other circuit elements together with appropriate interconnections. Now I can say that hybrid is nothing but it is manufactured using two or more number of monolithic circuits. So here in hybrid circuit, we not only use the active elements but also use the passive elements. The passive elements, we call them as resistors, capacitors, inductors. So these passive elements are now interconnected with the monolithic circuits to form hybrid circuit. Okay. So now, what is the difference between monolithic and hybrid in terms of the application or in terms of the advantage? So when I come to in the advantage, so monolithic circuits have the advantage that all of their components are contained in a single rigid structure. So that can be batch fabricated. That is, hundreds of identical circuits can be built simultaneously on a single silicon wafer. So according to this, the advantage of monolithic circuit is that it allows the designer to build monolithic circuits in terms of 100 identical circuits on a single stretch. So once we manufacturing one function of a circuit, so that circuit can be implemented or can be manufactured in a single instance. At a time, it allows us to manufacture hundreds of such identical circuits if I use monolithic. So that is the advantage of monolithic. But when it comes to the hybrid, hybrid will not allow us to do that because it is interconnected with the passive components like resistors and capacitors. But when I take the advantage of hybrid, so it also offers an excellent isolation between the component and allows the use of more precise resistors and capacitors. It is nothing but here, so some circuits requires the passive components. So at that time, hybrid technology allows the designer to use a precise means a particular selected range of resistors and capacitors can be utilized to build hybrid circuits. Furthermore, hybrid circuits are often less expensive to build in small numbers. So if I want to build only 10 to 100 hybrid and integrated circuits, then it will be less expensive when I compare with the monolithic circuits. So this is about the types of integrated circuits. So I hope it is clear for everyone. So if yes, just put a message in the chat box as yes. If you want to repeat in a particular part, so I will do that repetition also. I am expecting all 39 students to respond in the chat box so that you guys interacting with me in the class. So do it fast. I am expecting everyone to respond in the chat box, okay, so that I can expect everyone involved in the class, all 40 students. Okay, fine. So now, so this is about the integrated circuits in that the types. I hope it is clear for everyone. It's complete theory here, and this is about the integration. Next is the evolution of ICs. So how these ICs are evoluted, or who is the scientist who invented these integrated circuits, which is the year they have started to manufacture. So that we are going to discuss in this topic. When it comes to the evolution of ICs, here the IC was invented in February 1959 by a scientist called Jack Kilby, and it is invented in the company called Texas Instruments. So Jack Kilby is a scientist who invented these integrated circuits in the year of 1959. So in the company called Texas Instruments. Currently, this Texas instrument is used to manufacture the millions of integrated circuits like processors, controllers, gates. So whichever the requirement for the industries, those ICs are manufactured by using Texas Instruments company. Here, then these ICs was developed independently by Robert Noyce at Fairchild in July 1959. So later on, the scientist called Robert Noyce in the company called Fairchild, he started developing independently these integrated circuits. Started in the February 1959, then started manufacturing them independently in July 1959. Since then, the evolution of this technology has been extremely fast-paced. Means once we know the advantage of these integrated circuits, this technology has been extremely increased in the manufacturing and using in many applications. So here there is a scientist called Jordan Moore. The name of the scientist called Jordan Moore. He worked in the Intel Corporation. So Intel Corporation is a company. Here the Jordan Moore is a scientist who worked in this company. So what is declared that once the integrated circuits are manufactured, he declared that for every 18 months, the transistors will be doubled in the same size. So that he says that the component count has roughly doubled every 18 months in the same size of the integrated circuit. So this is also proved in many applications. Currently, for every 18 months, if I use 10 transistors in one IC for the same size, now we are possible to place 20 transistors in the same IC with more number of applications. So according to him, the Jordan Moore, he predicted this, and it is being proved true that every 18 months the size of the IC remains same, but the number of transistors in that IC are doubled for every 18 months. So this is also called as Moore's law. So according to Moore's law, the component count has roughly doubled every 18 months, okay, on the same integrated circuit. So here these integrated circuits are categorized in terms of their availability and their size. So here, that is shown here, depending on the component count. Depending on the component means here the transistors. Remember, when in the integrated circuit, if I use the term component is nothing but transistors. So like MOSFET, I hope you guys already studied MOSFET and CMOS. So those are the components here. Now based on the placing of these components, these integrated circuits are categorized. One is small scale integration. So small scale integration, this integration refers to 1 to 10 square devices, means the maximum number of transistors placed in this integrated circuit is 1 to 10 square. 10 square is nothing but here 100. So maximum 100 transistors can place in this integrated circuit. Now the second is medium scale integration. So this is a second count or the second size. In this, the minimum number of transistors placed are 10 square to 10 cube, that is 100 to 1000 components, that is transistors, placed in this IC. Now the third is LSI to the integration, that is 10 raised to 3 to 5. LSI stands for large scale integration circuits. So here the maximum number of transistors placed in that from 1000 to 1 lakh transistors. So next is LSI. After LSI, very large scale integration, VLSI. So here it allows us to place the transistors from 10 to 5 to 10 to 6. That is 1 lakh to 10 lakh transistors can be placed in this integrated circuit. Only one IC is there. In that one IC, it is now possible to place 1 lakh to 10 lakh transistors. The technology we call it as very large scale integrated circuit. So here in the VLSI, in the short we call it as VLSI also. So here in this, the main thing that is manufactured here are controllers or the processors. So after that, so another technology is there, ultra large scale integration. We call it as ULSI. So here from 10 lakh to 1 crore, more than 1 crore transistors can be placed in that integrated circuit. So I am talking about the number of components placed on a single chip. These are categorized based on the number of components placed in that chip. If I place 1 to 100 transistors in a one chip, I call it as small scale integration. If I place 100 to 1000, I call it as medium scale. If I place 1000 to lakh, we call it as large scale integration. If I place 1 lakh to 10 lakh, I call it as very large scale. So if I place 10 lakh to more than crore, we call it as ultra large scale integrated circuits. Currently now we are working on giga scale integration. Means it starts from 10 to 9 and ends at 10 to 12 to 10 to 15. So that much of transistors are now possible to place in the single silicon chip. Okay. So this is the table which shows that how the evolution of ICs taken place. Okay. So here it starts from 1960, because in 1959 the IC is invented from the scientist Jacques Kilby. So that's why it started from 1960 here. So it started from 1960. Okay, from 1960 it started. At that time, in the year of 1970, the first microprocessor has been designed. We call it as 4004, 4-bit microprocessor. This is manufactured by the company called Intel. So here the symbol, this square symbol which is shown here, it indicates that this square symbol is manufactured by the Intel. This symbol is manufactured by the Motorola. This circle is manufactured by the AMD company. So based on that, we have placed the symbols here. Just go through that. So first, in the year of 1970, the first 4-bit microprocessor, it is a single silicon chip, is manufactured in the year of 1970 by the Intel company. So later on, it goes on built by the another company called Z8068006502 by the company called Motorola. So like this, different companies start manufacturing, and then they are upgraded from 4004 to 8086. This is a microprocessor with 16-bit input data and 20-bit address bus. So this is the next microprocessor which has more number of transistors. This is a less number of transistors. As the years are passed from 1970 to 1980, 1980 to 1990, 2000, like that, here different ICs with more capability has been started manufactured. I hope you guys heard about Pentium processors. So Pentium processors, these are the microprocessors which are built in the year around 1992 to 2000. Later on, in up to 2010, we have different microprocessor has been built like Athlon, Titanium, Xeon. So with different companies like Intel, Motorola and AMD. Here the x-axis represents the year and y-axis represents the integration technology which is adopted. Initially 10 to 4 small scale, 10 to 5 medium scale, 10 to 6 large scale, 10 to 7 very large scale, 10 to 8 ultra scale, 10⁹ giga scale. So like this, different technologies has been adapted. With that, different microprocessors has been manufactured with the different companies in different years. So this is about the evolution of ICs with respect to year and its technology with respect to the companies built in these years and technology. Similarly here, so this is the improvement in the memories also in the year of 1970, and this is the scale along x-axis gives the year, the scale along the y-axis gives the size of the memory. So initially in the year of 1970 to 1980, a 16 kilobyte of memory has been designed. Then from 1980 to 90, 256 kilobyte. Then later on it is increased from 256 kilobyte to 4 megabyte, 64, 1 GB, 4 GB, 32 GB. Currently in 2020, we are using 1 terabyte, okay? 1 terabyte memory is utilized in the current year, okay? This is how the memories are upgraded, or evolution of memories has been increased. I hope it is clear for everyone. So this is about the evolution of integrated circuits. So hope it is clear for everyone about this, okay? So if you have any doubts, so you can ask me right now, because I'm going to wind up the class. So if you have any doubts, put in the chat box. If it is clear, start sending your USN number in the chat box if it is clear. If you want to repeat in a particular part, so I will do that repetition also. Otherwise, you guys start sending the USN number for your attendance. And the diploma students, you guys just put your name in the attendance or in the chat box. The students who came from diploma, you guys put your names, okay, complete name in the chat box. Particularly diploma students. And the name called Do It, his name is Nazir Ahmad Darugar. So Nazir Ahmad, you change the name, okay? Next class, change your name, whatever the name you have written here, Nazir Ahmad Durgar. That name you have to write here. Change this to Do It. Don't put again this name. Change that name, okay? Next, Kaushik, Shriya S. Patil, Darshan Hiremat, Ashwini C. Hombal. Okay. Do it fast, everyone. Mega G. Goravi. Okay. So another thing, for diploma students, we will make a separate group for you guys in the coming days. There I will also place the videos of every class also. Okay. So now you guys need to practice to attend the online class and how to adjust to the online class. Okay. Especially for diploma students. Okay. I hope everyone responded in the chat box. In the next class, I am going to start with the next topic, that is CMOS process integration. Okay, I already sent you guys the notes. So based on that notes, we are going to discuss this topic. Okay. So thank you for attending the class.